Patrick Mahomes not holding his tongue, Rob, not biting his tongue. He was asked about some of the criticism. Remember, there was that Athletic article where they did the QB tiers and they ranked all the quarterbacks by tiers and then had comments, anonymous comments from scouts, coaches, quarterback coaches, executives, and the like. And there were a few comments that made some people raise their eyebrows. Like, oh, was that racial? About both Mahomes and about Lamar Jackson. So here's Patrick Mahomes addressing it.
I don't want to go that far and say that. I mean, obviously, the black quarterback has had a battle to be in this position that we are, to have this many guys in the league playing. And I think every day we're proving that we should have been playing the whole time. We've got guys that think just as well as they can use their athleticism. And so it always is weird when you see guys like me, Lamar, Kyler, kind of get that on them and other guys don't. But at the same time, we're going to go out there and prove ourselves every day to show that we can be some of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, let me kind of give a little more context, Rob, and then you can go. So Mahomes, in the article, one of the anonymous quotes was about him. If his first read isn't there, then he just resorts to playing, quote unquote, street ball. All right, so that's one of the things. Lamar, we talked about how someone said if he wins 12 MVPs, he still won't be a tier one.
You remember, I thought that was just disrespectful. Right. And
that, I mean, obviously that's just a stupid comment, to be honest. I mean, if you win 12 MVPs, if you win 3 MVPs, you're a tier one quarterback.
Yes.
So let's just stop it, right? But where the racial element comes in, at least a lot of people viewed it that way, is, you know, Lamar's style of play is not the traditional drop back passer. He obviously runs, which has been more associated with, understandably, with black quarterbacks who've had more speed and moves and run more and stuff like that. Not all of them, but some. And then there was, what was the other one? Kyler Murray. Not in the article, but obviously the clause in his contract that might be, I mean, obviously it never should have been put in there, and they've taken it out because it was ridiculous. But he may need to study film. I don't know. But the fact that they put it in there, it's never been in there. There have obviously been white quarterbacks that haven't studied film. I think Ryan Leaf, it was said about, he was a huge bust. And it was said about him a lot of times he'd rather go play golf than, watch film. Was there a clause in his deal? So the fact that this type of clause was put in a black quarterback, the first time ever a black quarterback's contract, again, raised a few eyebrows. So that's kind of the context for why Mahomes made these comments, Rob. What are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, there are still those sentiments. I told you I had a problem with some of those anonymous quotes about Lamar. I did. What did I say to you, Chris, off the air, right? I just said they just didn't sound cool to me. They sounded like stuff that we had heard 20, 25 years ago. And, I've been covering the NFL since 1987, and it's always been a thing about black quarterbacks. You can say whatever you want. Doug Williams had one of the greatest.
Back then.
Huh?
Far worse back then.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but we know since 1987, and I'm just saying.
It's undeniable. There's no way, I don't think anybody, it's impossible to deny that black quarterbacks historically haven't been discriminated against.
And we talked about, Doug Williams put up one of the greatest performances by a quarterback in the Super Bowl, Chris. You remember that?
Right.
He was unbelievable in that one quarter. I think he just obliterated.
He was awesome.
Yeah, everything.
But he wasn't a great NFL quarterback. He was very good.
No, I know what saying he's like a great.
But he had that moment.
He played in that situation there, and he started with Tampa Bay and all that other stuff. But anyway, so I do understand some of the concerns and why it's still relevant. And when you get anonymous quotes and different stuff, and they kind of sound. What's the words that you want to say, Chris? When they're
stereotypical?
Yeah, stereotypical, and they're kind of coded.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not saying he's dumb. You're just saying he can't go to second or third read. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying, oh, Patrick Mahomes is dumb, but I'm saying, if it ain't the first play, he just goes to street ball and runs all over the place because he don't know to get his second and third read or his hot read or whatever. So those are like code words that you hear sometimes, and they're not always spewed about everybody. So I think that they have a legitimate concern, despite the numbers. And we could always talk about that, and they could say, wow, this is crazy. The league is 80% black, 75% black. How can there be racism? Well, yeah, there's still racism going on. We know that. Hiring, head coaches, front office. I mean, we could go on and on and on.
Right.
When Barack Obama was elected president, Chris, everything was was fixed? Everything was done? No. No, it doesn't work like that. So don't use that.
Like there's been quite a bit of pushback
since
Obama was in
there.
Yeah,
after those 8 years, it's been hell to pay. There's no doubt, Chris, and that has fueled some people. Fueled them. So in this case, I think it is warranted to talk about some of these things, bring it to light, check people on how they flip it, throw around comments about certain players and especially black quarterbacks. I think it's still a battle all the time, and it's unfortunate. We shouldn't be there because of all the greatness we have seen, and it doesn't mean that every black quarterback is great, Chris. We've seen our share of bust, just like we've seen white quarterbacks who are bust.
Right.
But I think this is real. I don't think it's like fabricated.
No, I mean, we brought up, I talked about the context and why people are discussing it. Obviously, there are tons of black quarterbacks in the league now. And a lot of the best one, the highest paid or the best contract, Deshaun Watson, obviously African-American. Patrick Mahomes is widely viewed, along with Aaron Rodgers, one or the other, as the best quarterback in the league. So, and then we've seen several drafted number one. So obviously things have come a long way. And there are times when, I'm not the one to be like, if a black quarterback's not studying, you can say it. I'm not the one, you got to treat him with kid gloves. No, we're strong. We're resilient. If it's true, it can be said.
Chris, what'd you say to me? That I hate all black quarterbacks? Remember you?
Right. And we want fair and equal treatment. You're not preferential treatment necessarily, fair and equal. But in a lot of these cases, it's still not fair and equal, because I brought up there's a lot of white quarterbacks you could say some of these negative things about, and maybe it's not happening. But I don't know for certain that. I think with Lamar, when they wanted to move him to receiver, Rob, and remember Bill Polian,
who's a Hall of Fame, general manager.
But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't view that as racial.
See, I did. I did, Chris, because you remember I was very upset by it, because I just didn't think like I need him to go out there. He's not running any patterns and running any routes or whatever. I just thought that let him go out there, Chris. If he can't make it as a quarterback and he fails, then you could talk about changing position. But if I were him, I wouldn't have run any routes either.
Well, he didn't. The reason I didn't think it was racial is because his style of play, it is so different and unique, and one that hasn't. Again, Cam Newton ran a lot, and it definitely beat up his body, and he's much bigger than Lamar. I've just always thought you can't run that much in the NFL and stay upright for too long. Now, Lamar's done a terrific job of it, obviously, over these 4 years. And he's actually surprised me by avoiding all the injuries for the most part. The injury he got wasn't because he's a running quarterback.
No, the time he's missed is COVID-related. It really hasn't been.
It's not been because of his running. So, I stand a bit corrected on that. Now, we still have to see, can you have a 12-year run of greatness playing that style, but maybe he'll adjust a lot. So I just viewed it more as stylistic than racial, because we do have plenty of black quarterbacks who are more passers, where they haven't. Nobody was saying Patrick Mahomes should go to receiver. or Michael Vick had such a cannon, that he obviously was just going to be a quarterback. So I do think there's a number where those stereotypes haven't come up, those position changes haven't come up, where I think it was just that Lamar's style was so different, and he hadn't been as that accurate of a passer in college. He was more of a runner, as we know. So, all right, it's just a good discussion. Rob, I will say this. Props to Patrick Mahomes for not shying away from it. Because we have seen quarterbacks, or not just quarterbacks, but athletes in general, not even want to discuss race in any significant way. You know what I'm saying?
The only way
he
we
wasn't
get
afraid,
solved,
so I give him props for that.
Yep, is having a conversation, Chris. You can't be afraid to talk about what's in the room. You can't.
Right. Black quarterback stereotypes. How big of a deal does it remain? Your turn to weigh in with Chris and Rob.
All right, let's kick it off with Marcus in Phoenix. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up, Marcus?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Good. I'm good. I do think, just like in all parts of society, race is, the big elephant in the room, and people try to, it is what it is. I think because it just hasn't been through over the years and just brought out on Front Street that's why we still have this underlying thing of racism in the country. But I do think, with the backs, it's the same. I think Bill situation, I don't think he did it intentionally. I think it's, kind of like, but it's still fed into that stereotypical thing. Black quarterback, he needs to play receiver, he's a better runner, blah, blah, blah. And using Kyler, for example.
Do you think you don't think it had any relation to his playing style?
I do. It's kind of like.
Because there have been a few white quarterbacks like that. Was it Scott Frost out in Nebraska? Remember him?
Right.
Great.
Yep.
Eric Crouch. Eric Crouch didn't get a chance to play quarterback. So there's been like white quarterbacks that were primarily runners, and similar things happened. Is he gone?
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Okay.
Let's go to David in Boise. Our man David, what's up? You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio, David.
Gentlemen, how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hey, I think the Kyler Murray contract is probably more an indictment on a generation of players, in that this younger generation, they're all about their Instagrams, they're all about their video games. Kyler Murray has been pretty outspoken and out front about his video games and all these things outside of football that he's pretty loud about. And I do think you're going to see more of this type of language put into contracts.
I don't know now. I mean, you saw the reaction.
Maybe not now. Yeah, maybe not now with the blowout.
But David, your point is well taken. I think your point is well taken. That generational, as far as like how younger people, Chris, react. They air everything like they're everything on social media, like even Kyler Murray scrubbing his social media of all Cardinal stuff.
And Rob, he has talked about how much he's into the video games. I mean, he's big into it. So he has talked about that too. That was a good point too.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
I think that's legit. Let's squeeze in Gary real quick. Let's tweet. Gary in Houston, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. We'll squeeze you in. How you doing?
Yeah, hey guys. This is my second time calling.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Yeah, so I wanted to say, I think it depends on, like, the person saying the comments, because some people have a history of making those comments and some don't. And as in regards to Mahomes, I think it is racial if you say it about him, but you don't say it about Josh Allen, because he does the same thing.
There you go.
There you go.
Good point.
Right. Is that right? What did you know what, Chris? It's almost like I was trying to think.
Steve Young ran quite a bit as well.
Oh yeah,
great runner.
But even like Brett Favre was like celebrated with throwing picks.
Right.
He's a gunslinger. Oh, he's a gunslinger. He's trying to make something happen. And then they might use another example of a black. Oh, throw the ball away. There you go, Chris. Exactly. Throw the ball away. Brett Favre didn't throw the ball away, Chris.
Right.
Go look at his numbers.
No, I mean, and I get it. Look, it's a different day and age, Rob. We've talked about it. Favre's interception numbers today, and I'm not saying he wasn't a great quarterback. He obviously was, but it was just a different game. All the quarterbacks back then had a far more interceptions, and he was, poster boy.
He's
for
the
that.
all-time leader,
but,
right?
Yeah, Jameis being ripped for the 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. I mean, back then, that wasn't, that would have been a great season. I mean, real talk. So, yeah, that's a good point. And I mentioned those. Eric Crouch never got a chance at quarterback in the NFL. And Scott Frost, two white quarterbacks. Scott Frost, remember, another quarterback in Nebraska, he became a defensive back in the NFL.
He was always nipping at my nose.
He was a runner as well.
All right. That's Jack Frost. I'm sorry.
All right. But that's my point. So it's not always race. I just think you got to really look at it and see, is it fair criticism or is it race-based?